What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So it's been a while since we've talked about stimulus here on the channel, and that's really just because there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about. Of course, you could squeeze content out of the most specific topics, but I really only want to give you content that is really concrete stuff, because I don't want to give you that hearsay crap that really is never going to happen. That said, there have been a lot of updates since we last talked about stimulus, and I'm sure a lot of you are wondering when you can expect your next stimulus check. So if you want one concise video that gives you all of the latest updates on when you can expect your next stimulus and how much it could be, then be sure to stick around to the end. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you do enjoy today's content, and let's jump right into it. So first, let's talk about the circumstances of how much, and then we'll talk about when this could actually happen. So the most common discussion surrounding the stimulus right now is really largely around the unemployment benefits, which is currently that $600 per week in stimulus that unemployed individuals are getting on top of their state benefits. Now, this has been a topic of great debate since day one, since, as we talked about before, a lot of individuals on unemployment currently are making more money through their unemployment benefits than they were while working, and a lot of people who are still working see this as unfair. Now, regardless of how you feel about that debate, there have been ongoing debates on if these unemployment benefits should be extended, and if it is extended, what that will look like. Keep in mind that those $600 unemployment benefits are supposed to end on July 31st, which is just a few short weeks away, and that's probably why this is the most pressing issue, not only on Capitol Hill, but also on the minds of most Americans. So there have been a few different proposed options on how to extend those unemployment benefits, and the first and most simple comes from the HEROES Act, which is that $3 trillion bill that the House of Representatives passed a few weeks ago, and they simply want to just extend these $600 benefits until the end of the year. Now, like I said, the House passed this, but the Senate has made it pretty clear that this is not going to get passed, so that leaves us with two other options that have been proposed. The first would tie these unemployment benefits to each state's unemployment rate, meaning the $600 benefit would continue until the state's unemployment rate falls below 11%. From there, the unemployment benefits for each state would be reduced by $100 for each percentage point below that 11% unemployment threshold. So if a state got its unemployment rate down to 10%, then the individual who used to make $600 per week would now only get $500 per week. Now, this is an interesting idea, and I'm curious to hear what you think about this down in the comment section below, but the other proposition with regards to the unemployment benefits is simply to continue this as it is, but with a lower rate, and the proposed rate is $400 per week rather than the $600 per week. Now, remember, this is in addition to the benefits that you already get from your state, so if you get $300 from your state in unemployment, you would still get that $400 from the federal government, and total you would continue to get that $700 altogether for your unemployment benefits. So that's really where we stand as far as unemployment benefits go, and I know this is a hot topic for obvious reasons, so let me know how you feel about this down in the comment section below. Now, moving on from there, if you are not unemployed, or even if you are, there are two other stimulus ideas that are really receiving most of the attention right now. The first of these is a $4,000 tax credit that is being called the Explore America tax credit. Now, again, this is just an idea, and I want to make that crystal clear, because at the beginning of the video, I did say that I only want to give you concrete stuff that is actually happening. However, this is an interesting idea that has received a lot of attention, and while it probably won't happen in its exact proposed form, it is still something that leaders in Washington on both sides of the aisle are talking about. So the way this would work is you would be eligible for a tax credit of 50% of all of your travel expenses up to a maximum of $4,000. So to clarify, you could spend $8,000 on vacation or other travel-related expenses and get 50% or $4,000 of that back in your tax benefits. Now, when I say get that back in a tax benefit or tax credit, this simply means that it is reducing your taxes. So in essence, you're basically getting $4,000. But that point right there has led a lot of people to ask, why not just give everyone $4,000 rather than forcing them to spend it on travel? Well, that has to do with something called the velocity of money, which is a very important concept when looking at a slowed economy. Right now, tourism and travel has been widely affected, along with countless other industries, by the current health crisis. And because of that, coupled with rising unemployment rates, people are not spending money. And when people don't go out and spend money, the economy slows down and can eventually even shrink. Now, a slowed economy coupled with high unemployment rates and high inflation due to the government spending money and sending it to everybody, that causes something called stagflation, which in economics is basically the perfect storm of bad news. Now, to avoid this, an economy requires a high velocity of money, which simply means people going out and spending their money. So instead of just giving everyone $4,000 and having that sitting there idle in a bank account, this $4,000 Explore America tax credit would incentivize individuals to spend that money. So if I go and I spend $200 on a plane ticket, then the airline uses that to pay the pilot who's flying the plane, then they go and buy groceries with that money, and then the grocery store uses that to pay their employee, and the cycle continues. And just from that example alone, now my $200 has turned into several $1,000s of circulation throughout the economy, and that is crucial in order to keep us out of a deep depression. So in that regard, this sounds like a great idea, but as always, there are a few issues with this idea. First of all, what unemployed person is going to spend $8,000 on a vacation when they're just trying to scrape by and pay their bills? Because of that, this benefit would be going to people who probably don't need it that badly, since someone who can currently spend $8,000 on a lavish vacation probably isn't the kind of person who needs a $4,000 tax credit. So yes, it is good that it incentivizes people to spend their stimulus, but it's an incentive for people who would probably be spending that money anyways, so in that regard, it's not a great idea. But again, I'm curious to hear what you think about this, so be sure to let me know, since there are pros and cons to pretty much everything that we've heard so far. Alright, and now the part that everyone has been wondering about: will there be another direct stimulus payment like the $1,200 that we got from the CARES Act? Remember, the CARES Act gave $1,200 checks directly to individuals who met certain income thresholds, and that was nice, but for a lot of people it didn't last very long, and they are in dire need of more stimulus. So because of that, most people are wondering, are they going to get another direct payment just like the one they got from the CARES Act? Well, the most recent proposal that discussed something like this is, again, the HEROES Act, which was passed by the House of Representatives, and is a plan that would give you $1,200 checks just like the last time, but would also include individuals like dependents and even individuals who are married to a spouse without a social security number who were previously excluded from those checks. However, like I said earlier, the Senate has made it clear that they are not going to pass the HEROES Act, but the $1,200 checks is not actually the reason that they aren't going to pass it. So I wouldn't say that the Senate is completely opposed to another round of direct payments. If you want my opinion, if anything is going to happen with regards to another round of stimulus, I'd say that another round of direct payments is probably the most likely option. And that's just because they have already done it, so hopefully they have learned from their mistakes, like sending checks to dead people, and with a little bit of compromise from both sides of the aisle, we might actually see those other individuals included in on these stimulus checks. Now, the president himself has continued to talk about a payroll tax cut, which is a potential option, but as we've talked about many times before, there are a number of issues with something like this. First of all, it requires people to be working, and for a lot of individuals, that's just not the reality of things right now. Plus, this is not a lump sum payment, since something like a payroll tax cut would just give you a little more money in your paycheck each week or however often you get paid, whereas with a direct payment, you would be getting one large lump sum of money at a time. Then on top of that, reducing taxes on things like Social Security and Medicare could be detrimental to both of those systems that are already quickly running out of money. Now, Senator Rob Portman did once again bring up his idea of giving an incentive to come back to work, and his proposed plan would give you $450 per week on top of your regular pay as an incentive for you to come back to work. And this isn't the first time that we've heard an idea like this, but what are you supposed to tell the person who never stopped working in the first place, who probably wouldn't be eligible for something like this? And I really question what you're going to tell the nurse or doctor who has been risking their life for the past few months, who also would not be eligible for something like this since they never stopped working in the first place. That alone is a huge question mark in my eyes, and it's unlikely that this is ever going to happen at all because of that. Now, the other idea that we've talked about before that the president has also talked about a lot is an infrastructure spending bill. At first glance, this might sound like a ridiculous and horrible idea, because why would we be worrying about infrastructure when we have a lot of other larger problems at hand? And that's a very valid question. Well, the idea once again comes back to that concept of the velocity of money, since spending money on infrastructure would circulate money through the economy, create more jobs, put money in the pockets of those workers, who would then go out and spend that money all throughout our economy. And all of that would occur while simultaneously improving our roads, bridges, schools, and a lot of other things that are in dire need of some TLC. Alright, so there is all of the ideas and where we're at with with those, but what is the most likely to happen and when will it happen? Well, let's get straight to the point. The Senate is currently on recess until July 17th, so nothing is really going to happen until July 18th or after. However, with the unemployment deadline rapidly approaching, they're going to be pressed for time to get some sort of extension if that is something that they want to pursue. Now, personally, and this is just speculation, I think the unemployment benefits will be extended at a reduced rate, whether that be a flat $400 or somehow tying that to a state's unemployment rates. And I also believe that another round of direct payments will be coming, but probably not until August or early fall. With cases rising of that which shall not be named, we are really not sure when this could all be over, and because of that, our leaders in Washington are really going to be careful and smart about when they send out more direct payments. They simply don't know how long this could last, and they don't know how many more direct payments they might have to send out if it goes on longer than expected. So we're probably looking at an extended unemployment benefits, another round of direct payments, and since the president is so fond of that infrastructure bill, that is a likely possibility as well. And we're probably looking at all of this by the end of July at the best case scenario, or probably more likely in August or early fall. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of all of this down in the comment section below, because I know this was a lot of information in one video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future, and use those first links down in the description to get $100 for free from SoFi when you open a SoFi Money and SoFi Invest account. They're a great platform, so be sure to check them out. As always, thank you so much for your time. I seriously do appreciate it so much. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.